Hi folks! My journal today is on cantaloupe. I tried growing it this year. It was one of the 2 melons that I tried to grow. So take a look at my summary of my cantaloupe areas. I tried 2 melons. One melon was cantaloupe. Very early in the season, like March. I bought 1 cantaloupe and then I planted the seeds in 3 different places. So this was one place, and if I back up, you can see how large an area the cantaloupe took up. But when I come in here, I can see that even though it has rooted and it has spread and it has some blooms, there's just almost nothing. Now it's possible that the squirrel is eating the small ones, but here's one small cantaloupe. This is the 1st of September. This is not going to make it. So out of all of this area, the only one that developed was this one here. This one's not ready yet. I can tell because this netting effect, like you see in the stores, has to cover the cantaloupe. These ridges. Right now it's smooth on the sides, and when it becomes this rough pattern all over it, then it will be ready to pick. So you can see here it started on the bottom, and that needs to spread all the way around it till it's ready. So that cantaloupe is still going, but out of all of this area, that's the only cantaloupe. So I am going to cut this back. Know when to fold them. I'm going to start folding up this area so I can clean it up for winter. This was the second area that I put cantaloupe, and they seem to have sturdier leaves. And here the end of this cantaloupe is quite sturdy, and here it has a potential cantaloupe. But again, it's September. These cantaloupes aren't going to make it this late in the season. I planted this very early. So out of this area, I've got this little guy here. And I'll leave him there, and I'll leave the plant that he's on. There's one over here. You can see here, again, the bottom has this ridge, this kind of a pattern that's rough, and the rest of it is smooth. And when that rough pattern covers the whole cantaloupe, then it's ready to pick. But that means that's probably the size it's going to be. That's not very impressive. So if you watched the first video where I showed my different areas of the house, this is area 4. Area 4 is in between the house and the fence. It gets very little direct sunlight, only about 2 hours a day. It's much more sheltered. Now over here it doesn't get a lot of water either, because it's the farthest from our watering area. And yet this is the area that the cantaloupes have done the best. So here we have a pretty good sized one. It too is beginning to make the pattern on the bottom. And it's pretty heavy. The leaves here are much bigger. Here's one, and it hasn't even started the pattern, so it probably will get a little bigger. And then we've got another one developing in here. We've got one here. Now here, some of the stems, including this stem right here, has gotten brown. And you see the pattern on this is over a large part of the cantaloupe. This is actually soft right here. So I'm going to take it in and cut it open, see what it looks like. Here, unlike the watermelon, there's no tendril here. So I'm having to look at it. It's got pattern over a large segment. It's got pattern over a large segment of the cantaloupe. It's got kind of a light green color though, so I'm going to wait just a little bit, but I'm going to keep an eye on this one because this one is almost ripe. So let's see what the insides of these look like. Here's the cantaloupe. It felt a little mushy. And here, yep, sure enough, it is fully ripe. The seeds are developed. It's got a nice yellow color, or orange color. So that tells me that the pattern on the cantaloupe was sufficient for it to be ripe. The inside is ripe. I'll get a spoon in a minute and test it and see if it's sweet. Not yet. Let's try the cantaloupe. The cantaloupe is pretty firm, so this was, I'm surprised because the outside seemed to be soft. I'm a little surprised that this is as firm as it is. And again, here, there's 100 seeds in there in such a small cantaloupe. In all honesty, the flavor is not as good as store-bought ones, so not something I would try again. I filmed all of that about a week ago, and since then the weather has gotten a little cooler. Almost all the cantaloupe has died back. I came out to this area 4 again to see the cantaloupe and found the largest one had been punctured. I'm not sure what made the holes, if it was an animal or the ants themselves, but the ants totally infested it and are living inside. So that cantaloupe isn't even ripe, you can tell from the color, but completely infested with ants. So that was a loser. This one still isn't ready, and yet the plant has pretty much died out. So this is the only one. I got one more cantaloupe. We'll cut it open, take a look inside, see what we got. Well, the color's good. Lots of seeds. I don't know that I'm even going to save those seeds. I will probably throw them away. I may save them and give them to somebody else. But I think I'm not going to try cantaloupe again. This just has not been a big enough success for the price that I can buy them in the store and the fact that they're not really one of my favorites. I think this cantaloupe experiment is done and we won't try it again. Thanks for joining me.